Hello, Pascal. Nice to
Hi,
meet you.
Noah.
Nice to meet you. Haven't seen you since our last podcast together, and here we are again. Let me just introduce myself to everyone. If you don't know me, Noa Schecter. I actually live in sunny California, and I'm a trainer. I'm a coach, international trainer and coach. And my subject is communication and leadership. And my focus usually when I work with teams is on what is your potential and your team potential. However, your team potential is good as you. So that is my specialty. I'm also a mediator and a pin master practitioner. And I love to meet people, travel all over the world and meet such an interesting people as Pascal. And let me, Pascal Dricot, I met you at another event in Europe a few months ago. And I have to share with the audience right now, when I started listening to you, I couldn't stop writing and I took notes after notes after notes. And then because you have so much to share about the subject of toxic behavior, and I really love you to say, share who you are first and why do you do what you do?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Noah, because it's great that we have another podcast because I also love how you inspire people and we had some discussion in the last podcast about the disc as well. So if you missed that one, check our LinkedIn. You will find the disc podcast we did together. So happy we have a sequel. So for those who don't know me, my name is Pascal Dricot, originally from Belgium, but as life goes on, I lived in Germany, in Indonesia, and since 5 years in Austria. And in the meantime, I'm a business coach, I'm a psychosocial coach, I'm an energy worker. It's because of my experiences that I came to this kind of profession that I have at the moment. And as you already said, Noah, I'm an expert concerning in toxic behavior. Why I'm an expert, or why does this topic loves me, or I like the topic? It's because of the past. In the past, I dealt with some bullying when I was a child, and then later on, when I was an adult, I had the luck to have a lot of managers, and some of the managers really were like narcissistic personalities. And also, when we were self-employed, when we have a company, we also had some toxic partners. And one after the other, this topic always interested me because I always love to have a look from what's the behavior of people and why does people react like they do. And that's why I came to this topic. And since the last years, I'm actually helping quite a lot of people in that specific topic. Either they are a victim, let me say it that way, because okay, victim is also a word, but let's keep it for this format like victim, right? From kind of a toxic behavior, either on the working floor or on the private working place, right? So this is actually what I have a lot of clients at the moment.
Thank you, Pascal. And then you mentioned toxic behavior, toxic behavior. So tell us, what is it exactly toxic behavior? Like if I'm getting upset at my co-worker, my partner, and I'm being triggered, is it toxic? Or my friend yells at me, is it toxic? Or my boss was upset, slammed the door, is it toxic? What exactly is toxic behavior?
Yeah. Actually, everything you mentioned at the moment, you can
Is
say
toxic.
yes, this is a toxic behavior. So from my point of view, we all have toxic behavior. This is not such okay, let me say it that way. We can of course work on that. But if you have like a look of toxic behavior, like if you use manipulation, and sometimes we use manipulation, sometimes maybe you would say from, hey, for instance, right? Hey, Noah, you did an excellent job last time. Could you help me again? This is actually a kind of a manipulation because you're already putting towards you and saying from, you did a good job last time. Could you also do it this time? That would be a manipulative way of approaching someone. And you could say manipulation is actually a toxic behavior. Or if you are negative, if your mood is negative, it's also toxic behavior. If you talk from someone behind the back, you could say it's a toxic behavior. So we all have that in us because we are not perfect. We all are polarized. We have a good side, we have a bit darker side, and this is how we are. For me, there are two things. The first thing is that from the other side, recognizing this behavior from the other person, and then depending the behavior, knowing how to react, how to set boundaries, this is one thing. And on the other hand, it is also finding out if that person not just has a toxic behavior, but I would call that person is then a toxic person. Let's say, for instance, a narcissistic personality. And this is then, of course, another level, because as of that level, this person is doing things on purpose. Is doing things on purpose to make sure, in the hope that there is separation, and the hope that the other person would not be stable anymore, and like this. And this behavior is, of course, can be very damaging for the people who are surrounded. So to summarize, yes, toxic behavior, we all have that in us. If you recognize your own behavior, that sometimes it's toxic, you can, of course, work on that. If you recognize it from someone else, you can learn how to set boundaries. And if you notice that you're dealing with a person who's actually a toxic person or a narcissistic personality, then you need to, of course, have some other measures to actually deal with these personalities. In a nutshell.
Wait, let me clarify something, okay? We started with manipulation. I actually, when I work with my teams and I teach them, I said, here's what you need to do when you want someone to do something for you. Because when you're a manager, right, you always, one thing I said, don't do it yourself. Or CEOs of company, they have a tendency, especially in the upper management, to do everything. So one of the things we said, ask your team to help you. So one of the ways to help is to say, you know, last project you did such a great job. I need help. Can you help me? Okay. So at what point this become toxic? Because we all work together as a team. I work with my team to work as a team, as a cohesive team. But at what point this is toxic and this is wrong and it's a narcissist, like you recognize, wait, my partner is narcissist, my boss is narcissist, or my supervisor. So how do we recognize this is not healthy relationship anymore? And it's not manipulation, it's narcissism.
Yeah, thanks for the question, because it's an important point that you're addressing. For me, the difference comes in your own personal goal. If your goal is a positive thing, if you want to help a person, if you want to empower a person, then sometimes it is useful that you give a compliment to that person, and that you do it like you said, that you say from, hey, you really did a great job last time. Could you do that? If your intention is a positive thing, then it's totally fine. Because then I wouldn't say it's a manipulative thing you did, because you actually want that person further empower himself or herself. It comes a little bit different where you think of, okay, I need that someone else is taking over this task. Who could I delegate? And then you're looking in the room, and then on purpose, you're using this kind of manipulation technology or techniques in the hope that this person then will take over. Because then your intention is another one. Your intention is that you're not saying that positive things because you want to say these positive things. No, you're using that in the hope that this person will take over it. I'm not sure if you understand the difference. It's like it's a gray zone. But it is your own intentions. If your intentions are a positive thing, that you want to help someone else, that you want to give a compliment, it's fine. If you misuse the words for something that you have a positive thing about it, and you don't care if that person has negativity about it or not, then I would say we go in the direction of manipulation. And then that's the big difference also if you talk about narcissistic personalities and persons who sometimes have a toxic behavior, is that quite often a person who is narcissistic do things on purpose. And because that person wants, from deep inside, does not want to work together, does not want that someone is successful, and so on. So the intention is again a different one.
So share with us more about narcissist personality so we can start making the difference. Otherwise, everyone will say, oh my God, my boss just asked me, constantly asking me to do things. I think he's a narcissist. So because I hear it from my clients constantly. I hear it, my wife is narcissist, my friend is narcissist,
Yes.
my boss is, so no. That's not narcissistic personality. So why don't you clarify for us, what is narcissistic personality?
Yeah. So a person who is narcissistic, let me say that way, first of all, this person has a very high self-esteem. That means that this person, on one hand, thinks that this person is much better than other persons. Normally, a narcissistic personality has difficulties to feel empathy. So they have shut down their emotions on a certain way. That means that they have difficulties to feel if someone is sad or not. And they need a lot of attention. They want to stay on a certain way in the picture. And most of the time, a narcissistic person will not see that they made a mistake. So they have difficulties to reflect. That means that they always feel that someone else is
Problem, fault, yeah.
for what from their own behavior, and they wouldn't for themselves, they would not say, yeah, I'm fault, I need to change myself. So it is quite difficult for themselves as well to be able to develop themselves. People who are not narcissistic, we can reflect and we can want to change ourselves. Normally, narcissistic personality, they block everything because if you give feedback, they want to block it. There is a psychological tests which you can do, right? And then they can say this person has a narcissistic personality disorder because there are like 9 different criteria, and they can say as soon as 5 of those 9 criteria is valid for that person, then it can be that this person is diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. Again, for me, if I work with clients, I don't care that much if that person is a narcissistic and kind of a diagnostic, if this person is using a toxic behavior or not. For me, it's like more in the direction saying from, okay, how to react and how to change myself if I have this kind of a behavior, right? But to summarize, it is, if you summarize, it's really an excessive feeling of self-importance. It's really a lack of empathy what they have, and they need a lot of admiring. So this is like in a nutshell from all kind of narcissistic subtypes, because you have different narcissistic subtypes. It does not mean that each narcissistic person is a grandiose person who wants to be in the picture, who loves to be on stage. You also can have a covert narcissist, and they actually can be that they are very quiet on a certain way, that they don't want to be in the picture, right? But they sometimes then will play that they are always a victim, that they have such a bad youth, that all others are fault, that it's of course that it is normal that this person is successful. If I would have that money, then I also would be successful. So their behavior is a bit different, but it also comes again to the same things. They want that you have attention for them. So they change their behavior. So the whole time you're giving attention to them. Right?
So how it's going to affect the team when you have a CEO or upper management that you start identifying them as narcissistic personality. I know from my own experience, not me, my sister used to work with a boss that she described to me what her boss is doing to her, like the relationship. One of the things she said, my sister used to say, I find a mistake, I do all the job, I do all the project, and when we go to meeting, my boss takes all the credit.
Yeah. Yes.
And she was there almost for 2 years. I can tell you from her experience, it was so hard for her. These 2 years was a nightmare for us as a family to listen, because she was always upset. But should you have someone like this in your life, what do you do? How you identify it, and how, because they can come, like you said, they can come as a very nice people at the beginning. How do you deal with it?
Yeah. The interesting thing is that they normally from the beginning, from the very start, they start testing. So there are some of the tests that they do. One of the tests is that they on purpose criticize you a little bit. And if you just accept it, then for them, you give them the message from, it's okay that you're criticizing me. And they will, it's like little childs with the teacher, right? They try further and further. So you need to set boundaries quite fast. It can be that they start yelling at you or that they become very aggressive. And in that moment, you should be very stable, emotional, very neutral. And if you say to that person from, look, I'm going to leave now the room because I see that at this moment, we both are adults and I don't think it makes sense to continue this conversation. I go down and let me know when you calm down, and then we can discuss further. If you do that way, you're clearly setting boundaries and you're clearly saying your behavior is not the behavior what I like. If you're just accepting that someone is yelling at you and you're not answering it, then of course you're giving the door open that the next time this person can yell again towards you. So this is one of the major things, is that the moment that you show that you are very authentic and that you are stable in your emotions and that you want to set boundaries because from your point of view this person crossed your boundaries, then that person will recognize that. This person will know, okay, I cannot go that far with that person, because then I directly have a stop. If you don't do that, then it becomes worse and worse. And again, that sometimes at the beginning they on purpose are doing things where what they know that you don't like. And it's a test. It's knowing, it's checking. If I ask that person to do something where I know that this person don't like it, how will this person react? For instance, if you go ahead.
No, I have a question, because right now, few of my clients and some of the teams I work with dealing with something like that right now. So the thing is, there's a difference when you start, let's say you're starting a new job or you're into a relationship, right? And you you listen to our talk, you start recognizing and start putting boundaries out of the way. What if this relationship is already personal relationship, husband and wife, 5 years down the road, the guy realized, oh my God, this is it. This is toxic for me. Or what if your business partner, or what if your boss, and you've been there for many years? Or maybe it's a family member of yours.
Yeah.
How are you going to stop it? Do you do it right away? Do you make a big noise about it? Do you have a meeting? Or you start doing it gradually, very quietly? Don't make a big deal. Get the awareness about this. This is not working for me anymore. Or you start putting little boundaries. So you don't want to shake the other person's, that he's going to be very defensive. So what's your suggestion? What is the right way of doing it?
Thanks for asking, because quite often I have this situation, of course, where and you mentioned it as well, partners and a private relationship, suddenly a partner finally gets it, right, and says, oh my God, I lived together with that person for the last 10-15 years, and now it's so clear that actually everything what you mentioned, this is like the definition of my partner. So yeah, this person definitely has some toxic behavior or narcissistic behavior. Again, it's very important that you change your behavior. So that you, from that moment, first, on one hand, is setting boundaries, is answering on another way on the questions or on the remarks, because quite often they are gaslighting. Yeah, so quite often they are turning that around. And if you're just accepting that, that means that you suddenly becomes the person who is bad, even if you were the victim, kind of. So you need to turn around, and you need to say from, okay, no, it's an interesting point of view, but I see it differently, period. And you clearly say how you see that things, and you don't give space anymore that you can have a discussion for that. So you clearly are saying from, okay, from this moment now, you have your point of view, I have my point of view, right? And setting boundaries is a very important. Secondly, and this is what I also do quite often, of course, is work on a very subconscious way, because there, normally, if you are in a relationship for a longer time, then quite often you really get triggered by every word that this person is saying, every phrase that this person is saying, because yeah, you for years it's a very psychologic it's a very big thing for you, right? So in that case, what is important is that I work on a deeper level, so that you get much more relaxed in this kind of a behavior, that you don't get so emotional anymore, because the more you stay stable and the more they feel that
you're strong,
are in charge and strong, the less that, of course, they can do, and that they will notice very fast. And yes, at the beginning, most probably they even will gaslight more, and they will turn that around. They will say, you changed completely. I did not know that you were so bad. I did not know you're so emotionless. You have no empathy at all. So they, of course, at the beginning, because they see that you change, they see that you start setting boundaries, they will react on that. And they will turn that around, that you are again the bad person. You just need to continue with this, right? You just need to say from whatever, I keep doing that. And then you will see gradually that this person needs to change as well, right? In a relationship, I always say you need to find out what can you expect from that relationship. And then you need to decide on your own, can I live with that, or it's not enough for me? Know that the narcissistic personality, if you don't know narcissistic personality, right? I'm not talking about the normal toxic behavior. Normally, a narcissistic personality will have difficulties to change. On purpose, of course, if they notice that you get stronger, if you notice that you made a decision to break this relationship or whatever, but then they will notice that and they will completely change, because they say, oh, I lost that person, I need to re-win that person. And then they will do the things what they've done from the beginning of the relationship. Give you flowers, give you attention, and then maybe you're going to think, oh my God, this person finally got it, this person changed. Normally, this person only changed because this person wants to re-win you. Once this person has won you again, this person within seconds will change again and will be the same person with the same behavior while you decided to leave that person. So normally this person will not be able to change forever this behavior, because it's like, for them, it's a game, and they say, okay, I need to change my strategy. I change it a bit, and once they have the feeling they got you again, then they go again to their original behavior.
So here's the problem, Pascal. It's easy for us, for you and I, to sit here and say, hey, just be strong, don't fall into it, it's a game, they just try to win. It's easy for us, but I know from experience, when I talk to my client, it's so hard, because they are the professionals and they know how to, hey, can you do just this assignment, or can you stay extra hour or 2 hours? first of all, we are in society, people don't want to lose their job, number one, and say, okay, no big deal, extra hour, and then 2 hours, and then 3 hours, and then the whole night, and can you do it at home? We see it, especially when people work for busy companies, firms, there's a lot of work. How do you do it? Or also, if I'm married to someone for a few years, and by now it's part of our relationship, I said no once and twice and 3 times, and I set up boundaries. But the person that is, in a way, the victim here, for them is so much more difficult than their narcissist personality. There, for them, it's like fire. Ooh, I gotta win them again. I gotta start the game. But for the people that are, the people that are the victim, it's so hard to be strong and see themselves as good people, strong, talented, smart, because they've been brainwashed for so many years to be the victim. So how do you do it? What kind of advice you have for them, to help them?
You mentioned two things, right? And private and on the working place. One of the important things is that you build up again your network. And I'm saying build up again because one of the things that narcissistic personalities love to do is to create separation. So quite often
isolation
isolation, a little bit more by more. They don't allow you anymore to meet your best friends. Then they don't allow you this, they don't allow you that. And after some years, it can be that you actually or almost cannot do anything anymore. Because little by little, either on purpose, when they were together with the friends, they put negative energy when you meet each other, so the friend does not want to see you anymore, or they start to not allowing you to do things, right? So one of the important things is that you build up again your network, because by building up again your network, you will see and feel that your behavior is not a bad behavior, that this person sometimes on purpose wants to believe you, that you believe that. And it also gives you a more power, of course, because like in the business environment, if you have a connection also with the colleagues of your manager, if your manager is a narcissistic personality, then at least in the meetings that your manager is, all the colleagues that are there, then if your manager talk negatively about you, then most probably their colleagues will say, well, I see that a bit different because I also know Noah, for instance, and actually Noah, how you describe Noah, I would describe Noah differently. It's even better, of course, if you also start to build up relationship with their manager from the narcissistic personality, because then also this person can see another picture of you, right? That would be one thing that you can do. Otherwise, from my personal history and from where I'm helping clients, learning how to say no is one of the most important things. And it does not have to be that this person is a narcissistic. It's a natural behavior. If you have a question and you go to a person and this person say no and another person say yes, that the next time you go directly to that person who said yes. So you need to learn to find out what are your own limits, how much you want to work, how much energy you want to put in. And there is no right or wrong. I also worked a lot in the past, but I loved working and I still love working. So for me, it's totally fine that I work 10 hours, 12 hours a day, right? But even there, I would set my boundaries as well. I would not find it okay if on the Sunday evening my manager is calling. Yeah? Or it's of course in a project where I know, okay, this is that critical. We need to have the deadline. It's okay in this month that we have this kind of communication. But then after a month, it's gone again. So it should not be starting to be a normal behavior that I'm 24/7 available for that person, whatever that is, your manager or another person. And there you also need to really set boundaries and say, look, I understand this is a very important project, but please from now on, I want this and that. That's it. And most of the time it even can be that they're gonna react and say, well, but at the end, if you keep doing that, then they cannot, yeah. If they keep doing it, then okay, you need to decide, do I want to work in this company or not, right? Yeah. That's the only thing.
Or the same thing for relationship. Do I want to stay with that person
Yes.
in any kind of commitment, or we're going to separate our ways? But by setting up, from what I got from you, setting up boundaries, learning to say no and feel good about it. Don't feel victim. Don't feel like shame on it, or just say no and move on. It's, again, like I said, easy for us to say, but practice saying no. No, give me $1 million. No, give me $1. Still no. And maybe for the people that listening to us, one thing I said also is, see where else in your life it's hard for you to say no, and it's hard for you to set up boundaries. Because I noticed, if a person deals with narcissistic personality at work, most likely it will be at some form or another also at home. And that's why during this call, this podcast, I talk about personal and professional, because they kind of combine together. So boundaries, recognize it, and I also tell my client, what are your strengths? And I start with their strengths, because they forget. They don't think about themselves already as a strong people, talented people. They're so consumed with the other narcissistic personality, so they forget to be who they are. So the idea is like, either you're going to grow the same place, but if it doesn't work, just take a pivot, move somewhere else, because you as a person, okay, is way more important than being at your job that you don't feel good about, or in relationship that you're just suffering. So, Pascal, I think it's the time of the hour. I just want to say, wow, I can talk to you 24 hours, but not because of narcissistic personality. I just like to exchange idea with you and learn from you. Share with us, where can we find you?
Yes, before I share that, no, I think one other thing is also important. Well, actually, are you also a very specialist in it? It's, of course, in the communication. If you know the personality types, if we're now talking about the DISC, then of course you learn how to actually communicate the best way to a certain communication type, right? Or the personality type.
Right.
That means that if you learn how to express yourself towards a dominant personality type, then of course it will be already much less tension in this conversation, because you start talking the way that that person wants to hear. And this, of course, will help you. And this is also a very important thing, right? Because saying no and saying no, you can use different ways of saying no, right?
Right.
And you can learn from this personality type how you say no there, how you say no there, and so on. And then if it escalates, then you still can be a bit stronger and be much more, yes. But you can learn, of course, it already helps to have this communication, right? Yeah. So yeah. For your question, yes, the best way is they find me in LinkedIn, because there I'm the most active. Of course, my website as well, www.pascaldricot.com. And that's actually the best way to contact me. Yeah. And of course, Noah, and I'm looking forward for that. We doing keynote speeches is also one thing that we do besides of our business coaching. And looking forward, because we both are invited again in having a keynote speech, right? And my keynote speech will be, of course, in the direction of dealing with toxic personalities from the Volantene group, where we both are at the end of May. Noah, what is your keynote speech, which you're going to hold?
Thank you. I just created a new one, because I'm always talking about communication. And my new subject is unlock the code of nonverbal communication, because we always focus about words. And I say, well, there's more than just words. So that's my topic for the event in May.
And nonverbal communication is the most important, because the communication as is only 7%, and the paraverbal it's only like 30%. So all the rest, most of the half of our communication is non-verbal. So yeah, great. Looking forward to have some tips there. Always interesting listening to you. I always take a lot of things from your speeches, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Same here. All right. See you in May. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So thank you, audience, for listening. And
Thank you.
yeah, we definitely going to do another one as well. So thank you, Noah, also for your time, for interesting conversation we had. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. And then for the audience, if you have any subject or something that you would like us to speak in the next podcast, please reach out to us. Either you reach out to Pascal or you can send me a message on Noa Schecter at EQ Evolve or Noa Schecter on my LinkedIn. If you're just listening to us on while you drive, Noa, it's Noa, Ashtar, Ashtar, Schecter is Schecter. Leave me a message on LinkedIn, and I hope to hear from you soon. And Pascal, thank you again. We'll talk again soon.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.